Can we share this? Let's see. I'm not sure. I'll just wait a minute and see if people get on here. And we'll have to play a few minutes late. That's okay. Anybody up there hear me? Hey, Doreen. Hey, Joe. There we go. People are tuning in. Hello, Yvette. Right on. Sorry for being late. I'm not the most technically savvy human being in the world, but we're here. So we'll just wait a couple of minutes and let people get in. We'll play past 9 o'clock, so we'll make sure you get your fill. Yeah, I will do that. See, yes. Joe, you keep us up to date in the hockey game, would you? We'll wait 4 more minutes and then we'll play till 10 after 9. Doreen says she loves your hair. Hi, Cheryl. Hello, Claudette and Jerome. Joe McKenna says hi, Beverley. Hey, Danny. LaSalle, Manitoba. Thanks for tuning in. Andre. Boston in the house. Hello, Marcella. Andre, Paul. Excellent. Good. We got a crowd here. Let me grab a drink and we'll play some tunes. Just want to say hello to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Want to send a big shout out and a thanks to Mark Neary, the owner of the Doryman Pub and Grill in Shetty Camp, for reaching out to us and asking us to play some tunes. We're in some pretty difficult times right now. We're all locked down here in Nova Scotia. There's no public performances since probably the middle of April, and looks like it might be a little while before we do that, but nonetheless, we still have music and we still have technology to keep us connected. So hope everybody is well in their homes and keeping safe and keeping hydrated. We were out golfing all day, getting primed for this, and so we actually haven't been playing a whole lot. We have thin walls, and our neighbor just lives behind us, so we don't get to play very often. So, as I said, this event is put on by the Doryman Pub and Grill in Shetty Camp. Anybody who's ever been to Cape Breton or knows anything about Cape Breton music knows that the Doryman's been around, I'm going to say 54 or 5 years. And if I haven't played on that stage 150 or 200 times, I haven't played on it once in my life. And they've always been very good to me and to us. So we're very grateful to do this on behalf of them. Just so folks know, right now the Doryman is taking advantage of the time off of being shut down. They're doing a boatload of renovations right now. I know we're back where the VLT machines where they had that tore out. They were extending the bar in the back to the bathrooms and a bunch of other stuff. They were doing reparations to the stage and so forth. So that's great. Mark Neary also set up, I'll actually put it right here in the, and I'm only going to do this one time because I feel guilty and bad about doing this. I don't like doing that, but everybody else is doing it. So the Doryman Pub and Grill has set up a virtual tip jar. So if folks want to send along a tip or donation to us for playing, they're more than welcome to do so. The email address is posted in the comments, and the password that you folks use will be Doryman. That's as per the Doryman. They've done that for us. That's their initiative, not ours. Also, our CDs for the next hour until 10 after 9 will be $10 a piece. $10 for any CD that I have made, and the one that we made last year are $10, but the shipping is an extra $2, so $12. Send along your address to the email address cbislandtunes@gmail.com, and we'll get that out to you Monday. So let's just, without saying too much more, we'll just play some tunes, and hopefully you enjoy. Happy Saturday. crowd goes wild. All right. Shrilly. Yeah, we were having issues earlier, Sarah Bell. I'm going to move my phone. I'm not sure what to do about that. That's one of the disadvantages of not being technically savvy with no microphones. We're just using the natural microphones of our computer. I think I used the computer one time and it seemed to be better than my phone, so this is what we're going to go with. Yeah, so Anne Germain, Anne and Mike, Wolfville, Nova Scotia. I would like to send out, we would like to send out a special hello to Caddy McDougall, Anne's mom, in, Jeepers, I was going to say St. Catharines, Ontario. That's not where she's at. It's not Windsor, either. It's not Windsor. Anyways, Caddy, Mamie McDougall and Caddy McDougall are lifelong friends. Mamie was married to Caddy's brother, Jackie. I became very good friends of Caddy's and Mamie's. I actually lived with Mamie for a year and a half, about 10 years ago, I guess. And Caddy just had her 90th birthday back in March, is a dear friend, a lover of music, and I'm sure she misses Cape Breton. We sent Caddy a little video on her birthday of March, actually. We'll just play that right now. Caddy's Cadence is the name of the march, I think is what was recommended. So we'll play that, and I'm going to open a window.
Okay.
Bever's going to open it. It's a little warm in here. So we'll play It's a March I Made, and no, Sarah Bell. That's fine. No, it's good to know. Hey, Joan. Hope you're with your mom. Joan, Mary, and Dewar, great friends of ours in the Ohio area. Debbie and Ward McDonald in PEI. Joan says that Beverly's looking gorgeous. I'm not sure. Do you like my shirt, Joan? I don't know. Do I get any compliments? Anyways, yeah. Anyways, big hello to Caddy. Big hello to all of you. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget cbislandtunes.com. That's the virtual tip jar they've got set up if anybody wants to throw a few bucks for the beer that we're drinking. Anyway, it's the last time I'm going to say it because we're just elated to be playing for people. So I'm going to play Caddy's Cadence, a march I made last October prior to a prime rib roast beef dinner that Caddy made for me. Beverly and I and my mom actually got to visit with Caddy and Anne and Anne's daughter Cassidy. We were down there last October. Had a great visit. So I made a march called Cassidy's Cadence and a few Strass Basin meals after that. Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. Who else we got there? June Harper, Lori Campbell. Oh, Debbie's tagging people. I see. Who's watching the Leafs-Canadiens game tonight? Or who doesn't care about the Leafs-Canadiens game tonight? Lots of people do. Beverley and I were out golfing all day. And since all these lockdowns happened, we've been lucky enough to be working in some capacity, but still trucking along and golfing lots. And just trying to hopefully make headway to summer. Looks like things are going to be promising, so hopefully we'll be back out playing in public soon. I just want to mention again that this event has been brought to you by the Doryman Pub and Grill in Cheticamp. Mark Neary, the new owner, or the owner that purchased the place last year, reached out to us early this week, I should say, and asked if we would be so inclined to play some tunes for them. So of course we would. I played on that stage a couple of hundred times in my life, and so we're going to play till, well, we were a little bit late starting, so we're going to go to about 10 after 9. The Doryman's undergoing a facelift right now, so there's lots of renovations. So when they open back up, there'll be lots to look forward to. I think they're still doing takeout. I'm not certain of that, but you can give the Doryman a call. I think it's 224-9909, I think is their number. Somebody asked where the tip jar is at. If somebody's looking to email transfer, I guess is the preferred method of sending tips. So if somebody wants to send a gratuity to the musicians tonight, they can send it to cbislandtunes at gmail.com. And I think if you scroll up through the messages, you'll find the email address. I'll type it in, and the password is Doryman, and I'll put it in there again. So cbislandtunes at gmail.com. Password is to be Doryman, and if anybody wants to buy CDs, I've got all 4 of my albums available. They're $10 a piece until 10 after 9. So if anybody wants to buy any CDs because you're bored, or maybe you wore out the ones you bought from 10 or 11 years ago when I made the first one, $12 with the shipping if I got to ship it out to you, or if you're in the Sydney area, we can certainly drop it off to you. So, anyways, what's that? Curbside pickup. Yes, that's a thing now. Sounds better when I'm closer. I'll move closer, Ann. I'll just get closer to you. Yeah. Hi, Kathleen. Oh, that's Kay Bathlin. It's Kay Batherson. Cheaper. Sorry, I just saw the first name. That's good. If anybody has any requests, put them out there. I'll see what I can do. I'm going to slow things down a bit right now and play something slow, and then maybe I'll go into some clogs and some reels. I'm going to play a slow air that I heard initially from Cameron Chisholm, I believe back in 99 or 2000 at his CD release party at the Doryman. I heard it off a VHS tape. Originally, loved the tune, could never get him to remember what the tune was, and then I heard there's a VHS tape going around of Howie and John Morris the last time Howie played at the Doryman, fittingly. And anyways, I think it's called 100 Fiddlers is the name of the tune. And then I think I'll go into some clogs and some reels, some Arthur Muse stuff after that. They got them the G minor. And we'll get to the King George Carolyn. All right. All right. Thank you. I just saw Brenda Stubbard's name come up there. Brenda doesn't live, actually, she doesn't live too far from where Beverley and I do. She lives on the north side. Pretty sure. Across the pond, yeah. And Brenda is a hero of mine, not just as a player, but she's one of the most respected composers of music, of, I guess, modern era Cape Breton Scottish music. She composes absolutely beautiful tunes. A lot of them I play. That last tune is a reel that I never heard until Arthur Muse played it for me, called Jack and Maddie's, which is in Brenda's Purple book. I don't know what page, but it's a dandy tune. Hi, Brenda. If you're out there, I saw you say hello, so you're obviously paying attention. Makes me nervous. Let me just see. I'm trying to think if I can think of a... Actually, Brenda, I'll play one for you. And if you're home alone, get your box of Kleenex out. When poor Jerry Holland got sick, Jerry Jr. Made a couple of videos of Jerry just sort of giving his, I guess, the truth of what he knew at the time to be his circumstance. And he played a set of jigs in D, actually, ironically, probably almost pretty close to the same set of jigs that I played earlier. But it was the first time I'd ever heard Lonesome Eyes. And actually, the lady that just responded, Marion Dewar. Hi, kids, sounding good. Marion, love you, miss you. Glad you're tuning in. Marion and I recorded Lonesome Eyes on Jeepers. Was it Digging Deep? Yeah, it was on the album that I did last year. But Beverley and I did one together, but I couldn't remember because we did one of Slow Airs, and then there was one I did that was a trad album that I had Marion on. So played Lonesome Eyes. And Brenda, I'm going to send this out to you. I know you love this piece of music. Nobody will ever play it like Jerry. I respect Jerry's compositions and what he did, and nobody will ever do justice the way Jerry did. There will never be another Jerry Holland. But we can respect and love his music and play it from the heart, and that's what I'll do. So Brenda, Lonesome Eyes, this is for you. There you go. For you, Brenda. You know, I see lots of beautiful messages for people that are here right now, wishing for those that are longing for home to come home. And we, as being here right now, you know, being longing for dances and live performances, we, above everything else, miss the people that come home every year. See them in Brook Village, the Shoe, Governors, far and wide. So, anyways, we miss everybody, and we wish that things to go back to normal as soon as they possibly can. So, anyways, I'm gonna dig into some jigs. JJ Chase on from PEI. Good to see you, man. Had a great gig with Darla, Brent, and Kevin last fall. Thought about you lots. Hope you and Julie and the kids are doing well. Glad you tuned in. So those who are missing home right now, if you ever been to Glencoe Mills, I'm going to play some Buddy jigs now. So let's get ready. Let's go down the muddy road to Glencoe and Buddy and Joey stuff back from the 80s and early 90s. I remember in 2001, my first trip to Glencoe. It was actually Buddy and Jackie Dunn, and I'd never been there, didn't know how to get there. Was heading down. Actually, John Beaton, mechanic from Judic, who just passed away last couple of years. He was up in Shetty Camp. Jason Roach and I were playing a gig at his parents'. And he offered to drive me to the dance. So Shetty Camp to Glencoe was like an hour and a half. Anyway, took me an hour to get into the dance. And most of those jigs were tunes that Buddy was just driving her on. Just best jig player to ever walk was, or to ever play was Buddy McMaster. So if there's any McMasters out there listening tonight, big hello to you, Joe, Minnie, Alec, and Natalie, maybe if she's tuned in. Maybe she's secretly watching, we don't know. But anyways, hello to everybody who's listening and paying attention. We're having a great time here. I'm missing the Leafs game. Blair, Chisholm, go Leafs go. I saw that earlier. I'm a Leafs fan. Don't hang up. If you are not a Leafs fan and you all of a sudden don't like me now because I'm a Leafs fan, don't do that. It's all about the music and the good times right now. So, the guy from PEI, Joe McKenna, asked for Tulloch-Gorham. Man, I haven't played that since November. I'm not sure that I can get through that, but I will try. Okay, let's try that. Clemmy Dubé. Okay, before I play anything else, Clem Dubé. If anybody sees that name on the left or in your chat room, when I was my 6th birthday, I still have the tape. Ray Doucette, you can disconnect anytime you want, buddy. Go Habs, go. Get out of here. I'm just kidding. Clem Dubé, so I was exposed as a child to accordion music, and an accordion tradition that was, I guess, sort of nurtured on the west coast of Newfoundland, specifically on the Port au Port Peninsula. And I guess in the early 80s, mid 80s, Jerry Holland, Howie McDonald, Brenda Stubbards, all their music sort of made their way over to Newfoundland, over to the west coast. And the accordion players over there sort of got wind of what was happening here in Cape Breton. And it was Clem Dubé that introduced me first to Scotch music. And I didn't like it because I thought it was too slow. Now, maybe tonight I'm playing too fast because I'm excited. I've had a few beer, whatever. We're all pumped up and you know, wanting to drive her. Anyway, Clemmy Dubé is the guy who lent me the very first fiddle that I ever played in his basement. He let me take it home with me, and my parents bought me one for Christmas the next year. And if anybody wants to know, the man that actually started me on playing the fiddle is watching right now. So Clemmy, hello to you and Eileen and your family in Cape St. George. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hello from Beverley. And we're going to play a tune for Joe McKenna right now called Tulloch-Gorham. I'm going to try it. This is only because he asked first. If you couldn't have asked for like the Ashokan Farewell or something like that. But anyway. I'm going to need another beer for this one. Okay. All right. If she's watching, Kathleen LeBlanc had a birthday a couple days ago. I just thought about that. Happy birthday, Kathleen. Okay. I'm just going to play Tulloch-Gorham in a couple of reels, and that's it, because if I'm lucky enough to get through this without messing it up. So, Joe McKenna, you better be listening. All right. Still no score in the hockey game. I'm watching. If you see me glance that way, it's because it's on the TV right now. Okay, Joe. kept going, but that's really hard, considering we haven't played a whole lot in the last, 5 months. Anyways, Joe, hi, Mary Janet. One of the most nerve-wracking moments I ever had playing for step dancers was in Port Hood about 3 or 4 years ago. I had to play at the Admiral, and Mary Janet McDonald came in and step danced for me. And Mary Janet's one of the very, very best step dancers to ever grace her feet across any stage in Cape Breton. And she's a fabulous cook. If you don't believe me, I'm pretty sure she's got a YouTube channel where she makes food every Sunday. Mary Janet, if you want to put your the link to your Cooks with Mary Janet on Sundays, I know she makes the best cinnamon rolls ever. So if you want to put the link up to your website or to your Facebook page, whenever you do that, I know there were raves about her cinnamon rolls. Anyways, good to see you, Mary Janet. And my Lily, holy jumpins. What are we doing there? 10 minutes. I guess we'll just play one more. We've got about 10 minutes left. We'll play. So Blair, I'll play My Lily for you. And then lots of people asked for the King George. So maybe I'll play My Lily. I'll play a march that Brenda composed. I don't I'm not sure the name of the march, but I'll play a march that Brenda composed, and I'll play some Strathspey, going to the King George, and finish it off. But before we go, just want to thank Beverley MacLean for making me sound great this evening. We absolutely love that you're all hanging out with us for the last hour. When this is over, I'm going to watch a Leafs game. Can't wait. Hope you are all well, healthy, and doing well in life. Tunes and wooden spoons. There's Mary Janet's post. She just posted it there. So no problem, Mary Janet. And it's not just, you're not just getting a cooking lesson when you hang out with Mary Janet. You're getting a true Cape Breton experience with a beautifully hearted woman that comes from a long lineage and a family of pure Scottish tradition and love and warmth. She's a wonderful woman to be around. I haven't been around her much, but Mary Janet is just a ray of sunshine. So if anybody's looking for something to do, tunes and wooden spoons with Mary Janet. So big thanks to Mark Neary, the Doryman Pub and Grill in Shettycamp, for putting on this event. Again, there is a virtual tip jar, which basically is our email address. If anybody wants to send off a tip and say thanks for the tunes, the Doryman sort of initiated that whole thing. CB Island Tunes, I'll put the Island TUNES at gmail.com and make the password Doryman. There we go. There we go. So if anybody wants to forward off a tip, there's the email address and password below. We're related to be doing this from our kitchens, but we obviously miss seeing people, and it's been that way for a while. So hang in there. Hopefully it won't be too much longer. We're back out playing in public again. I got a feeling Kitchen Fest is going to fly this year, and who knows, there's stuff going to happen around the island, wherever you are. So I'm going to play My Lily for Blair Chisholm. This is for a Leafs victory tonight, buddy. Moving on to this, hopefully the second round. It's going to be some bad if they lose tonight. There's a game 7. There's going to be lots of banter going on. So John McCasey from California. Mr. Twirls, my goodness. John, great to see you. Hope you and Elsie are well in California. Things are going well for you. Debbie, say hello to everybody. So My Lily, Brenda March, and then some Strathspey and Reels. To all of you, cheers. Have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you at the Doryman really soon. Thanks a lot.
Take care, everybody. Thanks a lot for listening.